Now, the Humble Hydration Vest or running pack has pretty much become an essential item of running kit these days for most of us. Whether we're putting it on for a long training run, using it in a city marathon, or stuffing it full of mandatory kit and treats for a challenging ultra marathon, most of us own one now. So the running pack market has become very competitive over the last several years, and most brands produce some form of running pack these days. But I would say probably the market leaders over the last 10 years or so have been French brand Salomon or US based Ultimate Direction. So in today's video, we are taking a detailed look at the latest Ultra Vest 12 litre from Ultimate Direction. Now, I've been testing this out over the last month or so and putting it through its paces. So let's dive into the video and find out how the vest has performed. Welcome back, folks. It's good to see you again, and thanks for tuning in again. I'm Lloyd Purvis, and this is Run for Adventure, your friendly, informative, running-related YouTube channel. Now, if you've been following our social media pages, you'll know that myself and Liga actually took part in our first race of the season at the weekend. We travelled up to Bodmin and ran their beastly half marathon. Now, an amazing route. We got to run through the stunning Lanhydrock estate and the beautiful Cardinham Woods, but the race definitely lived up to its beastly name, because by the time we both got back to the finish line, we had actually run a challenging 14.9 miles. So we definitely got good value for our entry fee, and we got some great training in our legs for races coming up later in the year. Obviously, I took the cameras along to the beastly half, and there is a race day video up on the channel. So I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out and see what we got up to at the Bodmin Beastly Half Marathon. But let's get back to the latest version of the Ultra Vest 12 litre from Ultimate Direction and give you a few facts and figures. And first up, price-wise, it retails here in the UK for £140, so a similar price point to Salomon's very popular Advanced Skin 12 vest that we tested earlier in the year. It's available in two different colour options on the UD website. So we've got this one I've got here. This is what they call the Onyx colourway, so it's like a black and khaki green, but they also have it in an all-white colour option, which I personally think maybe isn't the best colourway to have on a running vest, especially if you live here in the UK, because that's going to get quite grubby pretty quickly, I should imagine. So I personally think this is a much more sensible colourway to go for. It's available in 5 different sizes, from extra small all the way to extra large. Weight-wise, comes in at 255 grams or 7.92 ounces, so it is a nice lightweight construction. And you've probably guessed it already from the name of the vest, it has an overall storage capacity of 12 litres. Construction-wise, UD have incorporated a new universal dynamic fit that completely wraps around your torso for a more secure vest-like fit. And the bulk of the vest has been made using a soft, recycled, lightweight mono mesh, which is highly breathable and super durable. And then we've got some added air mesh panels just behind the soft flask there for a bit of added comfort and protection. And actually, that air mesh is very similar in construction to the honeycomb mesh used by Salomon on their vest. So it's actually 2 layers. Between those layers is a thin bit of foam, so it lifts the vest away from your body, creating a slight cavity, which really helps when it comes to airflow and breathability. Moving on, and let's break down the all-important storage options. And the Ultra Vest 12 litre actually comes with 11 different external pockets, so you get quite a few to choose from. So starting off, first up on the front, up near the shoulder straps here, we've got 2 little mesh stuff pockets, one either side. On the pocket on the right, we get a handy little key loop, so you can clip your keys into that. It's going to give you peace of mind knowing that they're nice and secure while you're running along. And then on the opposite side in that pocket, we get the small emergency whistle that comes with most vests these days, but it might be small, but it does pack a punch. So yep, that's pretty loud, especially for its size, and I think that actually would help you out in an emergency. So moving down from there, we've got the 2 big pockets where you're going to stow away your 2 500ml soft flasks that come with the vest. But it is interesting to see that Ultimate Direction this time around are using soft flasks from Hydra Pack, like a lot of the brands use, rather than using their own bottles. Inside each soft flask pocket, you get a small bungee, and all you have to do is loop this over the lid of your soft flask, and that's designed to stop those flasks slipping down inside that pocket as you drink your fluid. So a very simple but effective solution to an annoying problem. And then moving down the vest again, we get the bulk of the front accessible storage in the shape of two large stretchy stuff pockets, and actually a lot bigger and deeper than the pockets on the previous version, but they double up. So we've also got a nice secure good size zip pocket that sits under those soft flasks. So again, on the previous version of the UltraVest 12 litre, it only came with one zip pocket. So we got two this time round, and it had a smaller opening. So it did make it quite tricky to fit anything into that pocket, especially when you had a full soft flask in the vest. So we've doubled up on zip storage, although I've got to be honest, I've never been a fan of this style of zip pocket that actually sits under the soft flasks themselves, but we'll get into that in a bit more detail later in the video. Turning the vest around, and on the back we see quite a few big changes here, and I would say probably the biggest one is the addition of this sort of kangaroo pouch style stuff pocket that runs all the way along the base of the back. You can access it from the left or the right, and I personally think this is a brilliant addition to the UltraVest 12 litre, and this is a pocket I use all the time, and I tend to stow my waterproof jacket away there because that means that I can just reach around and grab it out while I'm moving if I get caught out by any challenging weather conditions. The main compartment on the back is very similar in design when you compare it to the previous version. So we've still got this nice big zipped opening that makes it very easy to load up with your mandatory kit. And this time round, we've also got the addition of this smaller secured zip pocket on top, whereas before we just had a stuff pocket there. UD have also changed the design slightly on the bungee cord system, and this has been put in place that if you're running the vest with minimal kit in the back, you can cinch that bungee down and it's going to stop that kit bouncing all over the place while you're running. And to be honest, the whole back of the vest just looks a little bit neater and a little bit tidier on the latest version. Also, inside that main pocket on the back, we've got a separate bladder compartment with a hanging strap. So if you do still run with a reservoir in your running vest, don't worry, because the UltraVest 12 litre is compatible. And when it comes down to adjustability, we've got a very simple sternum strap system. So literally just clip the two straps into the buckles there, pull that strap down tight to adjust it to your body shape, and you are ready to run. But if you did want to personalize the vest a little bit more, then you can actually unclip those straps, and you've got 7 different locations up and down the vest to choose from, just to give it a little bit more personalization. So you can see what I mean, a very simple but effective adjustment system. And last but not least, Ultimate Direction have also worked in 4 removable bungee loops with hooks to carry your running poles. So if you're out on a run, you're not going to be needing your poles. These can simply be removed, or you can actually tuck them inside the pockets to stop them flapping around when they're not in use. And you can choose between carrying your poles on the front, or you can carry them horizontally along the bottom of the vest. So lots of flexibility when it comes to carrying your running poles. So there's a quick breakdown of the new construction and the changes that have been made, but let's get stuck into how the vest has performed over the last month or so. Now, I've used it on some shorter, quicker efforts carrying minimal kit, but I've also taken it out on some long runs with it fully loaded. And I've got to say, the first thing I noticed was the improvement to fit with that new wraparound design. It definitely fits and feels more like a vest to me, and that has improved overall performance. So it really does feel nice and secure now, and it's kept the sort of movement or bounce down to a minimum, even when I've been carrying lots of kit. In general, I think overall storage has been improved on the new vest, and there's definitely more upfront accessible storage with these bigger, more secure, deeper stuff pockets. Previously on the other vest, they were quite shallow. I was always worried things were going to sort of bounce and fall out of the pockets while I was running, but that definitely hasn't been the case this time round. A lot deeper, a lot bigger, and much more secure. And then obviously we've doubled up on that front zip storage as well. Although I've got to be honest, you know, I've never been a massive fan of this style of pocket that actually sits under the bottles or the soft flasks. Obviously they're good sized secure pockets, but once you've got a full soft flask of water in the vest, it actually doesn't leave you with a lot of space in there, and actually quite awkward to fit anything in. And obviously once you've put something in that pocket, it is now sitting against your rib cage and getting pushed into your ribs by that soft flask of water. And I've never been a massive fan of that feel, especially when I'm running distance. And I would have thought, surely a soft flask of water is a better thing to have sitting on your rib cage rather than something that's quite hard like a mobile phone. So for me, I think having the zipped pockets on top of the soft flasks are always going to be a better option. As far as the main compartment on the back goes, it's worked really well. There's a lot of volume in there and you can fit a lot of kit in. And I actually think maybe you can fit a bit more kit in there than when you compare it to the main compartment on the Salomon Advanced Skin 12 vest. Also, love this clamshell design on the opening there. Really big opening space, so easy to grab anything out or put anything in. And UD have also added a water repellent coating to the back of the vest, so that's going to bead water for a certain amount of time. Obviously, it's not waterproof, it's only going to bead water, so I'd still recommend putting all your mandatory kit in a dry bag just to make sure you keep it nice and safe. But this repellent is definitely going to add an extra level of protection against the elements. And I've really enjoyed the overall fit on the Ultra Vest 12 litre, and I actually think this is a big improvement when you compare it to the previous version. Just feels a lot more secure, a lot more comfortable to run in, and this adjustment system gives you enough adjustment to get it set up right for your sort of personal body requirements. However, it does look a little bit dated now when you compare it to some other vests out there, but does do a pretty good job. Having lots of flexibility with the pole carrying options is always going to be a good thing in my book, because I'm not a massive fan of stowing my poles away along the bottom of the vest, and I prefer to have them up front and a bit more accessible. So I'm glad you get that option with the UD vest. I also like the fact that they've worked in these small openings into the pockets, so you can stow away those pole carrying bungees when they're not in use, just to stop them sort of flapping all over the place and annoying you while you're running. The only other thing I would say is, yes, it's very light in construction, but it does run quite warm. So we've only got that single layer mono mesh on the back panel, and towards the end of the Bodmin Beastly half marathon the other day, it got quite hot, especially for the UK, and I did feel quite warm running in this vest when I compare it to how the Salomon Advanced Skin 12 vest feels in hot conditions. That's got a honeycomb mesh back panel, so again, it's that two-layered system. It lifts the vest away from the body, creating that cavity for airflow and breathability, very similar to the air mesh that UD have put behind the soft flasks. And I actually think it would have been a better option to use that air mesh on the back panel of the vest as well. But wrapping up with a quick conclusion, and the Ultra Vest 12 litre has performed well over the testing period. I think it's a big upgrade when I compare it to the previous version. Fits better, feels more comfortable, overall storage has improved, and it just looks and performs like a sleeker running vest. The downside has to be these two zipped front pockets, because for me, they're pretty much redundant storage, because I don't think they're very practical and I'm not going to use them. So I actually think if UD could move them in the future to a more practical location, it really would improve the overall performance of the vest, especially when it comes to accessible upfront storage. And that's something that's really important for me when it comes to my running vests. So final words, and if you have the previous version of this vest and you're wondering whether to upgrade to the latest Ultra Vest 12 litre, then I would say it's definitely worth an upgrade. And I think if you're a UD fan, then you'll really like the changes that have been made to this vest. Personally, for me, when I take into consideration fit, comfort and accessible upfront storage, I think I'd rather reach for my Salomon Advanced Skin 12 vest or my SaySky Flow vest before using this, because I think those other two vests just suit my requirements a bit better. So there you have it, folks, our full review of the latest hydration vest from the guys at Ultimate Direction. Really hope you enjoyed it, really hope you found it helpful. Don't forget, if you did, to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, as it really is a big help. And also, if you are in the market for a new running vest, then we've got lots of great helpful content already on the channel, including lots of reviews of lots of different brands when it comes to hydration vests and running packs. But we've also got a very helpful buying guide as well. So I'll link all those videos in the description below so you can check them out. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. It's always appreciated. We'll be back very soon with some more interesting running content. And as always, stay safe and keep on running. only went and swallowed a fly while filming. I don't know, the things we go through for this channel.